This is a special presentation of EA Sports from the Coliseum in Oakland, our tribute to the coach, the John Madden Legacy Game. I'm Brandon Gaudin here to take you through the proceedings, and coming up, we're going to tell the story of a man who was truly larger than life and whose impact on the sport of football, certainly it's going to live on for decades and decades to come. Now, we've assembled a couple of rosters featuring some of Coach's favorite players from both yesterday and today, and Coach himself will be on the sidelines for both squads, trying to motivate his guys to victory. And I'm joined now by my good friend Charles Davis. CD, your thoughts on John Madden and what he meant to the sport he loves so much?
For me, Brandon, it's the word joy. He brought that to the game of football and brought the game to so many people. He stayed involved his entire life. And moving forward, when you think of football, you're John Madden.
One time for old times. What do you say we play some football as we are underway from Oakland in the John Madden Legacy Game? And good coverage there on special teams as they'll get him down shy of the 20. So it's the NFC stars who will get the ball first. And Charles, as we alluded to, we've got a different era of coach on each sideline. So the man coaching this NFC squad, we'll call him Young John Madden, this is a coach who was trying to establish a foothold in the NFL and on the cusp of doing it very successfully.
Yeah, you think back to that period, those early days as the coach of the Raiders, the late 60s in the AFL and then in the NFL in the early 70s. Coach was a guy who was ahead of his time. The Raiders were one of the first teams to have mini camps, one of the first to film practice, because he wanted to practice coaching as much as he could. And his teams, they were successful right from the start of his head coaching tenure.
It'll be Sanders to begin the drive. And an early how do you do right there as they're going to bury him in the backfield. So as we mentioned at the top, let's take you through the life of John Madden. And, you know, it's very fitting that we're here back in the Bay Area, not just because John's so associated with Raider football, but also because this was where he spent his formative years.
Yeah, he grew up over in Daly City with his buddy John Robinson, who would also become an NFL head coach. And he played his high school ball at Jefferson High, eventually wound up playing tackle at the University of Oregon and later Cal Poly San Luis Obispo. Played well enough that in 1958, he was a 21st round draft pick of the Philadelphia Eagles. That's right, the draft had 30 rounds then.
But Charles, you mentioned Coach was a 21st round draft pick back in 1958, was the Philadelphia Eagles who selected him. But unfortunately for John, knee problems, they just continued to dog him. He was hurt in his first training camp, actually never saw the field as a player in the NFL. But it was still during his time with the Eagles, you and I were talking about this before going on air, that you could start to see the light bulb going on for what his career path might entail.
And it went on in a big way, didn't it? Because while he was rehabbing his knee, he started to spend a lot of time breaking down film with the Eagles, with quarterback Norm Van Brocklin, the future Hall of Famer and future head coach in the NFL. Remember, Van Brocklin coached with the Falcons, he coached with the Vikings. And it's there, during that time, I think Coach Madden realized his love of football and love for teaching, combining all that together, and that meant being a football coach. So in 1960, began his coaching career at a small college south of San Luis Obispo called Allen Hancock, and then later at San Diego State University under another legendary coach, the guy who could throw it around pretty well, Don Coryell.
But Charles, you know, it was in the early 1960s that a young John Madden made the acquaintance of the owner of the Oakland Raiders, one Al Davis, of course, and the two, they really bonded, would become one of the best owner-coach duos in NFL history. And to take it a step further, Al Davis became someone who John referred to as his best friend.
Yeah, in 1967, Brandon, Al Davis hired Coach Madden to be a linebackers coach. Remember, this was still the AFL at that point. We had not merged totally with the NFL. And Coach Madden, he paid dividends almost immediately. Helped the Raiders win the AFL title in 1968. And that meant a date with the Green Bay Packers in what was now known as Super Bowl II. But by 1969, at the age of 32, just too, Brandon. John Madden assumed the mantle of head coach of the Oakland Raiders. And what a ride he, the Raiders, and the NFL were about to go on.
So on the other side of the field now, it's 1st and 10 as they've got things rolling on this drive. Another run with Sanders. Oh, what a move. And some room to roam now. And he's going to get this inside the 30. That's another gain of 15 on back-to-back plays. Charles, you talked about John Madden and the Raiders going on a ride. Well, try these numbers on for size. In 10 seasons as a head coach, the Raiders won their division 7 times. They finished second the other 3 times. And he became the youngest coach to amass 100 career regular season victories and is still, to this day, the franchise leader in wins.
And when you think about it, that's where that rivalry with Kansas City really took root, as did the expression commitment to excellence. And boy, was it personified by the players who played for Coach Madden. On offense, how about quarterback Kenny Stabler, wide receiver Cliff Branch, wide receiver Fred Biletnikoff, tight end Dave Casper, to name a few. How about those great linemen he had? Center Jim Otto, guard Gene Upshaw, tackle Art Shell, all of them in the Pro Football Hall of Fame. And guys on the defensive side of the ball, the Mad Stork himself, Ted Hendricks, Willie Brown, John Matuzak, Otis Sisko, and Big Ben Davidson. So many great players, so many great memories.
A rare misstep on that last play because the drive has been strong, but now it's 2nd and 12. From the gun, it's Favre. And that one going to come up short. Low throw. Charles, you think about all the success that John Madden had as an NFL head coach, and he had plenty, and we talked about it, including the 10 straight winning seasons, a Super Bowl title. But like any great coach, he also suffered through a few tough losses along the way as well.
And Brandon, those tough losses came in high-stakes games because they always had such great success. Think about it this way. 6 times in his 10 years, the Raiders were knocked out.
Into a sea of defenders and intercepted. Past the 10 to the 11-yard line, and that's where the return stops. Not something you see very often from a quarterback of his caliber, an opening drive interception.
Oh, there's no doubt in my mind that even he's surprised at how that one played out. But we know this guy is not going to stop him from continuing to fire as this game goes along. Probably give a little nod of respect across the field for that one and let him know he'll be back the very next series.
So, Charles, as mentioned, we've got another Coach Madden over here on the AFC sideline. Of course, his Raiders, members of the AFC West. So this is a conference he battled in for his entire career. And you think about the landscape of the NFL as he was getting into the back half of his tenure. It was a golden era for coaches. You had Don Shula, Tom Landry, Chuck Noll, Bud Grant. But it was John Madden who had the best winning percentage of them all, CD. 759, the best ever.
Brandon, it's hard to believe he could be so successful in a conference with all those great teams. The Steelers won 4 Super Bowls. The Dolphins won 2 and were a mainstay in the playoffs. The Colts were tough. The Broncos came on late and went to a Super Bowl themselves. But against Hall of Fame coaches, John Madden's record, 36, 16, and 2. That's pretty.
And this turns into disaster. He's not going to get forward progress. That'll be a safety. Well, we thought these two defenses, they might come to play. One has already come to play here. A safety for the opening points of the game.
Brandon, let's file this play away because if it turns out to be a tight game, who knows? This could wind up being the difference.
Now the free kick comes after the safety from the 20 as they bring the punter on to try and get some hang time here. Now the NFC offense coming out here, and you know, Charles, Coach Madden always said that if he had one drive to win a game and he had to pick a quarterback, he would pick Kenny Stabler. But I think if you asked him to omit any of his Raiders players, there's a good chance the guy he'd select would be Brett Favre.
Brett Favre is always smiling. He's always laughing. He's always talking to someone. He remembers that it's a game. And if it's a game, you should have fun.
And Brandon, that always reminds me of a great movie line where one of the players was telling the coach, every time I say it's a game, you say it's a business. And every time I say it's a business, you say it's a game. With Coach, it was always a game.
They start on the ground here at Sanders. And he is met quickly in the backfield. Down he goes, folded like a lawn chair. The CD, we spoke of some of the Raiders' tough playoff losses through the decade of the 70s, but for one shining season, they put it all together, and that was 1976. You remember a 13-1 regular season, a memorable playoff win over New England. They dominated the Steelers 24-7 in the AFC title game, and then a meeting with the Minnesota Vikings in Super Bowl 11.
Oh, Brandon, what a game that was down at the Rose Bowl in Pasadena. A gorgeous 53-degree day, perfect for football. Raiders got out to a 16-0 lead at the half, and Clarence Davis, no relation, although I would certainly claim him, strong on the ground, 137 yards rushing. How about Freddie Blitnikoff, the MVP of that game, catching everything that came his way? Kenny Stabler running the offense with precision, and we all remember the one that sealed it. The grand old man himself, Willie Brown, with the laser-focused eyes, picking off Fran Tarkenton and taking it 75 yards for a touchdown. 32-14 the final score. Raiders had their first Super Bowl title, and we got the iconic shot of Coach Madden being lifted on the shoulder pads of his players and carried aloft as a Super Bowl champ.
So on fourth down, here's the Australia native Mitch Wishnowsky to punt this one away. Back deep, two-time Pro Bowler Dante Hall. And now a fair catch called for and taken just outside the 40-yard line. But the AFC making their way out, and it's one of Coach's favorites, another local guy, Tom Brady, who will be at the controls. And boy, Coach always admired the way number 12 could run an offense, and especially his ability to stay calm under pressure.
Tom Brady is a guy who's always looking downfield. He never looks at the rush. He hangs in the pocket, and he makes a throw. He's a cool guy. He's a tough guy. Let me tell you, there's no one calmer in the pocket than Tom Brady.
And I know that Coach has a great appreciation for Tom Brady, who turned 45 back on August 3rd, because Coach coached a guy like him in George Blanda, who played a long time in the NFL. In this game, it features legends and active players. Tom Brady qualifies as both.
Brady now on first down. Open man is Andre Reed, complete. And he's going to be taken down right at the 40-yard line. So, Charles, after that Super Bowl title in the 76 season, the Raiders again advanced in the AFC Championship game the following year, but they fell to the Denver Broncos on New Year's Day by a field goal, and that ended their chances for back-to-back titles. And then in 1978, after missing out on the playoffs in that season, John Madden, he actually stepped down as coach of the Raiders January 4th, 1979.
Yeah, and that was a surprise for the league because remember, Brandon, he coached 10 seasons in the NFL, but he'd put everything he had into the Oakland Raiders, into being a head football coach, into guiding, mentoring, loving his players. And he just sort of felt like it was the right time to step away. And even though he was just 42 when he left, even though there would be overtures for a return to coaching in the future, many overtures, he never returned to the sideline.
Even though he didn't, we all know his work with the NFL was far from finished, and a lot of chapters of the John Madden story were still left to be written. Play action, now it's Brady. And he slings one that's incomplete.
But there's an incompletion, partner, and the struggles through the air continue because so far their lack of passing production has led to a lack of points.
Now they face a 3rd and 10 after back-to-back incompletions. Throwing now is Brady. And this is caught. It's Brown. And they'll wind up getting this one all the way down inside the 20. That's a 3rd down conversion of 24 yards there. Nice play.
I don't care how many times we say it, I still get a kick out of watching quarterbacks and receivers do the pass tree in pregame warm-up. But I always remember that when we go to practices, We see that after practices as well. They really tune it up, don't they?
They tune it up. They know why they do it for these situations. First down.
And they build that trust, and that's why they're able to find him in this type of a situation.
Now Allen gets past one man. And he will take this in for an AFC touchdown. Marcus Allen, a 16-yard touchdown run. And the AFC has taken the lead. That almost looked too easy, and I think thanks goes to the offensive line for making it look easy.
Yeah, I agree with you totally on that one. I'm not sure how much everyone understands the preparations that go into a game for an offensive line, because there's a reason that running backs and quarterbacks give them big gifts at the end of the season after a big year. The consistency and the continuity it takes to know each other and execute their blocks is pretty impressive.
Vinatieri able to tack on the PAT, and the lead is up to 5. And here's Vinatieri now to kick it away after the touchdown. Hester going to decide against a return, and they will spot this at the 25. Now the NFC heading back out. Hall of Famer Randy Moss a part of this offense. And Coach Madden, boy, he always appreciated the ferociousness with which number 84 attacked the football in the air.
As Randy Moss says, just chunk it up there, dog, and I'll go get it.
And, Coach, boy, did he ever go get it. Over 15,000 receiving yards, 156 touchdowns. And how about this? From his rookie year of 1998 until 2009, those were his prime seasons, right? He led the league in touchdowns 5 times, but even more so, he showed us all how to go up and get it. Great body control. No one's ever done it better playing the ball in the air.
On 1st and 10, it's Sanders. He'll be dropped after a gain of about 6 across the 30 to the 31.
And there we saw one of the downsides of blitzing during a rundown, because sometimes you get out of your gaps. You don't fit the run quite as well because you're headed towards the ball carrier with abandon.
The last run got 6, now 2nd and 4. Favre. He's got the hook up downfield to Samuel. And he's able to get this to the 40-yard line before he's out of bounds. Hey, we want to let you know, give you a fair warning, that coming up at halftime, the folks at EA Sports have put together a very nice package in tribute to Coach Madden. So make sure. And looking for Kittle, but it's intercepted. Picked off by Stephon Gilmore. And they will set up shop at their own 41-yard line. You don't see this often. A quarterback of his caliber, 2 first-half interceptions.
It's absolutely surprising because it happens so rarely. You're searching for what reason, what's going on out there. It's not just maybe the defense is playing well. Is his horoscope off? His biorhythms? What is it?
You went horoscope on us, David.
Well, I was thinking maybe REM sleep was off. I'm trying to come up with something.
Anything, right? So good starting field position for him here as they come up 1st and 10 at the 41-yard line. So after the INT, it's Brady. And he'll find Hall. And he'll work it across midfield inside the 45. The catch and run there, good for 16 and a first.
So many times in my career, I've heard coaches talk about completions are one thing, but as long as we're there at the catch and we get guys on the ground, we can live with that. But if you're going to give up 10, 12, 15 yards after the catch, then your defense is going to be in a lot of trouble.
On first down, Brady. There's Hall bringing in another one. And he'll go out of bounds after taking it a little further down inside the 40. Give him a gain of 5 on the completion, and it'll be second down.
One thing you're hoping for when you run drag routes, you're able to hit a receiver in stride, and he can pick up a lot of yardage after the catch. But in this situation, the defense was effective, able to stop him before you get a good head of steam going.
The throw on second down by Brady is incomplete.
They certainly thought he had an open look beyond the first down marker to his receiver, but they just couldn't connect, and that will send them back to the drawing board.
They come up now 3rd and 5 following the incomplete pass. Again, they'll throw with Brady. Throw left side complete. That's Brown. And they'll wind up getting this one all the way down inside the 20. Nice third down conversion and even 20 yards. If you're going to blitz, likely going to leave you in man coverage with this guy, and that is less than ideal.
It is, because just about any offense that has an elite receiver, if you blitz and have him in man coverage, you're going to him, even if he has an elite defender on him, because he usually knows where the ball is before the defender does.
So from the 17 now, here's a 1st and 10. On the toss, here's Allen. And he's going to be met at the line of scrimmage and taken down. Now the AFC going to take a timeout. It's their second, as the stoppage will come with a little under a minute to go in this first half. So after the run for no gain, here's 2nd and 10. Now a play fake, Brady. To the end zone, but it's incomplete.
My first thought is surprise, because that's one of the better tight ends around, and I've seen him pull in balls like this before. But how about a little credit to the defense forcing that incompletion?
Now play number 7 of the drive as they're looking at a 3rd and 10. Here's Brady. Escaping the pressure right. And probably the wise decision there. No one open. He just throws it away. And that keeps the field goal on the table as it's 4th down. Now is Vinatieri as he'll try the field goal. This just a 35-yard attempt from the left hash. Vinatieri's kick is good. And high fives for that one as that drive ends in 3. They already had the early lead, and they get the interception, Charles, and now they add 3 more with the field goal.
Yeah, they're in control of how this game is playing out so far. You mentioned the early lead. Now they're expanding on it, getting plays on both sides of the ball. A winning recipe if they can keep this up.
And after the made field goal, here's Adam Vinatieri to kick it away. Here comes Devin Hester bringing it out. And he'll get it up past the 20 to about the 22. The offense for the NFC ready to get their next drive started. With this slim deficit closing in on the end of the first half, we'll see if they can move this at least into field goal range and try to get 3 out of this drive. Throwing on first down, but this one winds up to be incomplete.
You can tell they wanted to get that ball downfield, but they had nothing working in the secondary, so he dropped it off to the running back. That one ended up incomplete.
So after the incompletion on first, now 2nd and 10. To throw is Favre. And that one will fall incomplete. Clock here now just under 30 seconds to go in this first half.
They have to like what they've done defensively here at the outset of this drive. They forced a couple of incomplete passes, bring up a 3rd and 10. Don't be surprised to bring a little pressure on this snap.
So back-to-back incompletions, and that has them staring at a 3rd and 10. This time they stay on the ground, and he'll get this to the 23, but that'll be well short of what he needed. Now the AFC going to use their final timeout of the half as they'll stop it with 25 seconds to go here in half number 1. Here's Mitch Wishnowsky now on to punt. Fair catch taken just inside the 40-yard line. They'll call that a 33-yard punt with no return. And control of the football switching hands with very little time remaining until the half. The AFC offense set to take their next drive. And with decent starting field position, there may be only a couple completions away from field goal range. That's going to be complete on the sideline, but, you know, that throw left him no room to run, and the good footwork nearly all for naught. They should have got more out of that, though. He was wide open.
I love how emphatic you are with that call, because that's exactly what I was thinking. Wide open in the flat. Give him a ball that he can use to get upfield with, not just catch and go over the sideline. They cost themselves some yardage there.
Here's Allen. And he's going to bull his way forward to the 48. Nifty running there, but it'll come on what should be the final play of half number 1. Well, coming up in the second half, we'll run through John's post-coaching triumphs. But for now, we present a very special tribute to the man of the hour, narrated by Trey Mosley.
What comes to mind when you hear the name Madden? Is it the coach who led the Raiders to their first Super Bowl victory? Perhaps it's the broadcaster who entertained millions of fans. Or maybe it's the video game known simply by his name. But no matter what comes to mind when you hear the name Madden, everyone thinks of one thing: football.
The core of it was football. It's the greatest game in the world. The left goes to the right goes to the left.
Madden is on the field. He wants to know if it's real. John Madden goes on the shoulders of his players.
In my mind, John Madden is the most important figure in the history of professional football. Show me somebody else who did it on 3 levels the way John did it. There's nobody.
Boy, Charles, yeah, that is really well done. Coach was something else, wasn't he?
I'm reminded what Al Davis said when he was inducting coach of the Pro Football Hall of Fame, Brandon. He loved the game. He loved his team. He loved the Raiders. He loved this league. And you can see it with everything he does.
No doubt. But it's quite possible, though, that now he would say, hey, enough of that. Let's play some football. The second half forthcoming from Oakland. going to get the football first here as we are back underway from Oakland in the John Madden Legacy game. Fields it right around the goal line. Oh, a good return up past the 30. And they got to be pleased with this. He brings it all the way up to the 40-yard line.
In a game like this, you're fighting, you're scratching, you're clawing, you're hammering away. That return has the feel of maybe cracking the rock and giving them a chance to get a big-time advantage.
The offense for the AFC set to go now. And both of these defenses have been stifling these last few drives offensively. Just not able to get anything going, so what needs to change?
I think a lot of the guys will go back and review, so to speak, because everyone has someone assigned to how did each play work. Okay, what did we use that kind of worked for us during this game? Try and get back to some of those plays, as well as the possibility of showing something you haven't shown already in this game and trying to change things up.
We'll see if they take the advice of Mr. Davis. The draw. Here's Allen. Oh, good move. And past the 35, he'll be dropped a yard or two shy of the 30. 50 yards rushing for him now, and he's carried the ball just 5 times. So now, Charles, to pick up the story we've been telling, John Madden at 42. He just completed a 10-year stint as the coach of the Raiders. He wants to step away a bit from the grind of coaching, but he doesn't want to step away from the game of football. So he ends up signing on with CBS in 1979 to try his hand at broadcasting. And much like his coaching career, he was pretty much an instant success.
Partner, he really connected with the people right from the start, and people may not remember, he wasn't even on the #1 team in the beginning. He worked his way up. But the same things that made him a great coach made him a great broadcaster. The ability to show the big picture, yet break it down into the details. That's what he did with his teams. That's what he did with the people. That way, he was simple to understand, yet insightful for viewers. And he did with that big personality that he had, one that connected with everyone.
They keep it on the ground. Allen again. They juked him. And taking it to the 15-yard line before he's brought down. Give him 14 on that one and a first down. So for Coach Madden, Charles, by 1981, his broadcasting career is really taking off. He's elevated to the network's #1 booth that calls all the big matchups. And he gets the plum assignment of calling Super Bowl 16, 49ers and Bengals, and he's teamed up with Pat Summerall. And that pairing ultimately would go on to be one of the most influential in sports broadcasting history.
Influential not just in us listening to them. Remember, they went on and called 8 Super Bowls together. But how they put together kind of the template that all of us broadcasters follow now. Sitting down with the head coaches and the quarterbacks and the stars of each team before a ball game to get extra information. And the way that those two paired together, Pat Summerall, short, concise, to the point, and turned it over to Coach Madden to fill in all the big details.
Second down from the 8. They can get a first down by reaching the 5. They'll run with Allen. And he'll be brought down this time at the 5-yard line. It's a 3-yard pickup, and that sets up a first and goal.
I think we're seeing the effect that runs like that are starting to have on this game. They're a little bit slower, that front 7 reacting to the football, almost like body blows in boxing, slowing them down, and they're really starting to take over in this game.
Up the middle they run with Bettis. And not a whole lot there. He does get a couple, taking it from the 5 down to the 3. Be interesting to see now what they do offensively down near the goal line after not much there that time.
As the offensive play caller, that may change your sequence now. Instead of coming right back with a running play, you may have to go to the air.
So the ball position now at the 3. Here's second and goal. They'll run. This is Allen. And he will take this in for an AFC touchdown. Marcus Allen with his second touchdown of the afternoon as his guys are able to extend their lead. That seemed pretty ideal there for the offense, Charles. You take a little bit of time off the clock here in the third quarter, decent length drive, and you pad your lead as well at the end of it.
And what it does is let you feel like you're in control of this game, even more so than a 2-touchdown lead, right? Because you have taken that time off, as you noted, which means they couldn't get you off the field. You ran your playbook the way you wanted to, and you gave your defense some rest. What a big-time drive in that situation.
Vinatieri connecting on the extra point, and the lead is up to 15 now. So that drive takes him down the field in 8 plays, and it ends with a 3-yard scoring run. Vinatieri now to kick it away after the touchdown. And Hester content to hold on to this one and bring it out to the 25. Ready to begin their next drive here, the NFC offense. They make their second half debut here, and things are looking a little bit tougher now. You give up the points there, Charles, that touchdown drive on the other side, so now it's a 2-score game here. Got to be careful.
They certainly do, and I'm just wondering at halftime if those guys just looked into each other's eyes and realized what they've got to get done and come out a little bit more charged up, because if they don't get some kind of points here, that next drive, that could make this a 3-possession game.
It's a second down run with Sanders, and a nice move will yield nothing as he's stopped behind the line. 2 yards the loss, and now 3rd and 12. 3 quarters complete now in the John Madden legacy game from Oakland. It's the AFC on top, and we're back to the Coliseum after this. And this offense on 3rd down today, they've only converted once in 4 tries. This is 3rd down and 12. Being chased out left. And he's going to be intercepted a 3rd time. Picked up by the 13-time Pro Bowler Ray Lewis. And he is going to score. It's a pick-6 and an AFC touchdown. But just to add that to the list of great moments for this defense today, they've really shredded that game plan on the other side all 4 quarters. And, Charles, that pick-6, that's kind of the cherry on top.
Yeah, they did it, and I feel like I'm quoting a bad movie line, but they did it together, didn't they? Fed off of each other, every big play they made, every tackle, every pick, everything they've done. They continually built energy in this one, and how about them culminating with a pick-6?
Vinatieri now to tack on the PAT. And the lead opens up now to 22 points. A lack of a play there defensively, getting the interception, navigating his way into the end zone for the touchdown. So they'll get another shot on offense following that pick-6, and now the kick is away. From the 6. And makes it across the 20 as his guys will set up shop at the 23-yard line. The offense for the NFC ready to get their next drive started. Well, it's been a struggle so far for this offense, Charles. It's not only that they haven't been able to put the points up, but really stringing yards together has been a real issue for them in this one.
I'm so glad you brought up the yardage because I was thinking to myself, we've seen a lot of NFL games and we've seen our share of lopsided contests, but in almost all of them, both offenses have put up at least 200 yards in a game, but not in this one. This has been a display of offense that, frankly, I think the two of us have watched from behind our hands, trying to spread our fingers wide enough to actually see the result.
Finally hauled down for the first time this game. Multiple defenders in there to drop it. As you mentioned, CD, talking about John Madden, the broadcaster, he called 8 Super Bowls with Pat Summerall, 3 more with Al Michaels later in his career. He spent nearly 3 decades in the booth all told. And not only was he beloved for his mannerisms, we know that, but he was an innovator as well.
Yeah, Brandon, you talk about things like the telestrator, which totally became identified with him, and now it's a staple for all analysts to have in the booth. And then you think about things like turducken on Thanksgiving, when he used words like boom and pow. He helped create the All-Madden team. He was a very popular commercial pitch man. And even the Madden Cruiser was unique, and you had to be someone to get a ride on it, too.
Now, CD, we did get a little ahead of ourselves talking about John Madden, the broadcaster in the 90s and 2000s, because there was another product during that time period that he became quite famous for, and it's something that you and I know a little bit about, and that's the video game that bears his name. Originally John Madden Football when it was first released back in the late 1980s, and now known the world over simply as Madden.
And Coach saw this originally as a way to teach the game of football. The early designs were for a 7-on-7 game, but he said no chance. He would not sign off on it. He wanted to be as realistic as possible. He told them, call me when it's 11 on 11. And he got his wish.
Yeah, after that debut, Madden the video game continued to pick up steam through the 90s in a big way, and John himself, many will remember, was a commentator for the series for many years. And now here we are in the 2020s, and this game has sold somewhere in the neighborhood of 150 million copies. The NFC's decision to go for it does not pan out, and the AFC is going to get the football back in great field position. Now a first carry for their fullback. So, CD, you look at the accumulation of John Madden's achievements in the world of football, the coaching success, the Super Bowl title, the incredible career as a broadcaster with 12 Emmy Awards, Madden the video game. It was very fitting back in 2006 that John Madden got the call to be enshrined into the Pro Football Hall of Fame.
A more deserving person you will not find. He gave an incredible speech on that day, Brandon. So many of his former Raider players were in attendance. He talked about how he envisioned that when the last person turns off the lights in the hall every night, that the bus talk football amongst themselves. And what a discussion that might be.
Yeah, he finished his speech by saying, today feels like the second time in my life that I'm being carried off on the shoulders of others. Yet instead of off the field, it's into the Hall of Fame. This has been the sweetest ride of them all. Line of scrimmage, the 15. It's 1st and 10. Now a carry for Allen. And now they're inside the 10 as he's brought down at the 9. 86 yards rushing for him now as he has been tremendous all day long.
I have to chuckle to myself a little bit, Brandon, because right now I could be in that huddle with that offensive line, and I know exactly what they're saying. If you call a pass play here, we're going to call a timeout. Run the football. We got control of this thing. Get him behind us and let's go.
Their time to shine. They stay on the ground with Allen. And he will take this in for an AFC touchdown. Marcus Allen, a 9-yard touchdown run, as his guys are able to push that lead out a bit further.
And to me, that touchdown allows you to start grinning widely on your sideline. I think they pretty much locked this one away.
Yeah, that's the clincher, the proverbial icing on the cake, if you will. Vinatieri now for the point after. And that'll push the lead up to 29 now. So that drive, 4 plays, and a 9-yard run on the end of it. And here's Vinatieri now to kick it away after the touchdown. Taken in at the 3. And he won't get this to the 20-yard line as he's down at the 19. Ready to begin their next drive here, the NFC offense. Where we stand right now in the fourth quarter, this one pretty much out of reach. And, Charles, I know they're going to be disappointed about several things with this ball game, but the self-inflicted wounds, they've had several turnovers. You have to think that's going to be something they're going to discuss heavily in the film session in the coming days.
You're absolutely right about that, partner, because they're going to have to sit in that film room and watch every error that they made and figure out how to not do it in the future. And mentally, I think a lot of the guys are already starting to think about, okay, how do we put this behind us and get better for the next time out? This, they'll use as motivation for the rest of the time that they play to hopefully never be in this type of situation again.
Now the NFC going to call the first of their 3 timeouts as the clock will stop with 18 seconds remaining. And it looks like we've got a dime set here defensively. 6 DBs in the game. Throwing is far. That'll be caught by Rice. And I don't think he got there, no. He's short by maybe a foot, maybe. Call it 4th and inches. The NFC punt team out there now as he's on to kick it away. It's a 45-yard punt, then 8 on the return. And there'll be time for maybe one final play before we hit triple zeros. Victory very much in sight now as they'll take it. So it's a win here for the AFC on an incredible afternoon of football and remembering the life of John Madden. Before we go, one final message. And for all of us at EA Sports, this one's for you, Coach.
I just say this, I thank you all very much. This has been the sweetest ride of them all.